So I'm Dave Kyle. The story I was going to talk about was in March, coming up next month, will be my 46th birthday. So 6 years ago then, I was turning 40. And a couple things that impacted my 48th birthday. One of them was the fact that 9 days before my 48th birthday, the man I was in a relationship with and had been for a year and a half, who I thought was the love of my life, and I could spend the rest of my days with him. And when we got old, we would wear caftans and be fat and hang out in Key West and all this stuff. Dumped me. Very surprisingly, out of nowhere, like it happens sometimes, over the phone in the middle of a conversation about nothing in particular. He was in Chicago, I was here, we were long distancing until I was moving to Chicago, which didn't happen because in the middle of a conversation he just said, I don't think I can continue this. And I was like, continue this phone call, this conversation? And he was like, no, this relationship. So this had happened, so I was just about a week out from feeling like the worst I ever felt. The second piece was when I was 23 years old, my mother died very suddenly. She was very young, she was 47, and it was a phone call. It was, boom, Dave, I'm so sorry, my grandmother on the phone saying, your mother's dead. Now, I was turning 40, and I was kind of coming into that decade that my mother was in, and it was really starting to hit me like, holy shit, she was so young. So I had that going on. Now, the other piece of that is, when my mother died, I, being the child of this wonderful, progressive, pot-smoking, poncho-wearing hippie mom who was really into like find yourself and do therapy, I went right into therapy and I like worked my stuff and worked my grief and all that stuff. My dad, on the other hand, being a little bit different, decided to deal with it by medicating himself with alcohol and never mentioning my mother's name. She was always your mom, your mother, your mom. It just was never her name. So all this comes down to my 48th birthday. I had just been dumped by the man that I loved. I had one birthday card, one, and it was from my father. And the thing is, my dad remarried, and I don't know if you all go through this, but my dad was always the kind where when I got cards and stuff from my mom and dad, it was always written by my mother. Always. And then the very last line was, oh, Dad. And my dad's handwriting, right? But this card that I got on my 40th birthday was really exciting because I had gotten it 2 days before, and my dad had written it. It was his handwriting on the card. He had written this card for me. So I had it sitting on my desk, and I wake up on my birthday. The house is empty. It's just me. I'm alone, except for my dog, my awesome, amazing dog, who, sadly enough, in the story is now dead. But he wasn't at the time. And he was next to me in bed. His name was Monkey. He was this big shepherd pit bull mix. He was this goofy dog. And I get up in the morning, and I throw the covers back and feel like, okay, you're 40, and you're single, and you're alone, and at least I have my card. So I go over and I open my card. Now, the last piece of the story to know is, earlier that year, this was in March, so earlier that year I had just done a one-man show at the time, a show called I Am My Own Wife, which was a phenomenal show. It was on Broadway, and it got the Tony, and it was this fucking amazing show. And I had sent a DVD of the performance to my dad and his wife, because they had never been up to see a show of mine. It's good to know this, because when I opened the card, again, I'm standing there, I'm alone, I'm feeling just, and I opened the card, and there, the whole card is written in my dad's hand. And he wrote, happy birthday, we are so happy for you, blah, blah, blah. And he said, and this was about the disc, about the performance, he goes, we knew you were good, but we never knew you were that good. Diane would be so proud. Aww. And it was the first time since I was 23 fucking years old, so 17 years, that he had used her name. And there I am, and I'm reading this card, and I immediately lose my shit. I mean, 100% full on. Oh, I got my weeping bawling, and the one thing I wanted was like, I just want to hug somebody, and my dog is there. My big, awesome, amazing dog. And the second I opened up and I realized, my dog freaks the fuck out. Out of the room, literally, speeds up down the stairs and hides downstairs. And I'm standing in my bedroom, and the moment, the whole thing together, is I'm like going, and I just had to take a few minutes to stand that moment and forgive my dog for being the shittiest, worst